Hey everybody, Shaman Hawk here for Shamanic Lodge. This is kind of a little message out to especially the women in the corporate world. You know, 'cause the men can listen to, of course. But I remember back in my working days, back in my working days, when I was starting to work in my after the Marine Corps in my 20s, I went back into construction for a while. Now, most of the guys in the neighborhood, we weren't college guys, and we all went back into construction. We started that in our early teens, really. But when I got back out of the Marine Corps, I went back into construction, back into a neighborhood I lived in Arlington, Virginia, right next to DC. And all of our girlfriends were somehow affiliated in the corporate world. A lot of them started off as secretaries. Some of them had degrees and worked their way up into management. But when we had our group, neighborhood picnics and stuff on the weekend, we would listen to the girls' stories of the corporate world, and of course they would listen to the construction world stories. And it was two completely different environments. And they always had to have all their clothes in order. They had to spend a lot of money on clothes. They made about as much money as we did. Some of them made more. But the stuff that they had to put up with from their bosses, from management, just the stuff in the corporate world, just us as blue collar guys, construction guys, didn't want to put up with any of that, And a lot of the stuff they had to put up with, and then I'm talking back in mid 70s now, late 70s, with a lot of sexual harassment. And that wasn't even a thing that people talked about. It was just something they dealt with. And of course, the favoritism when it came up into promotions, and what I'm hearing, that stuff still exists today. When I went up into the higher parts of management, when I started managing construction projects, into the hundreds of millions of dollars, and I got to see more of the corporate world bullshit firsthand that I had to deal with, because construction and the bigger projects can become political as well. And I was just so happy that my trade, because I balance the worlds between shamanism and the blue collar trades. Both of my fields were very practical, very open, very honest, and you say what you thought. And this is something that the guys noticed it with our girlfriend. They couldn't say these things. And they always had to keep it in, so it caused a lot of internal stress on them. And of course, when they came home, we got unloaded on, and of course, we're like, why don't you just tell your boss to fuck off? Why don't you just tell your boss? Oh, no, because then I get fired. Really? For saying stuff like that? And she's like, yeah, if you told your boss, wouldn't you get fired? I'm like, no, we do that all the time. And sometimes our girls could come with us on sites that weren't dangerous in work, and they would listen to us have these blowouts with our bosses or management and stuff. And I understand the management, the corporate world, they have guidelines, they have things to do. And with our world, the hands-on world, we just had to worry about quality. We had to make sure we built a good product, and management deals with the rest. Well, management deals with a few different worlds. The financing and all the management, and the hands-on dealing with, grunts like us. And I'm just happy I never got into that world. But in my shamanic field, excuse me, getting cold here in Central Texas. But in my shamanic field, I had a lot of clients, especially in Europe. There were upper management and upper echelons of the academia and the universities, and very, very successful people in banking, insurance, medical fields, and some politicians. And they dealt with the same stuff. And so many of them look at me in my life and say, man, I wish I could live a life like you. I'm like, well, you could. Really, it is possible. It just takes a while to make that change. And I'm bringing this up because somebody that I'm very close to, a shaman that I trained, Elisa Glesvalle, and this woman is absolutely awesome in her field in shamanism. When some people look at her, yeah, they're going to think, but she's so young. She looks like she just got out of high school. I'm like, yeah, but no. I'm not going to tell you your age. I'll let her tell it to you, but you'll be very amazed at it. But looking at that and how she looks now, I mean, she's always a beautiful woman, But how she looks now, it's a deep beauty, meaning that she was always beautiful. If you looked at her on physically on the physical world, if you looked at a picture, like, oh wow, she's a beautiful woman. Yes, she is. But now, from the time I met her to now, there's been this other awesome change, and she just doesn't radiate the look of beauty. She radiates the feeling of beauty. And for those of us that have known her and watched this, it's just a real wow event. I mean, when people see her, of course, and feel that, unfortunately, they can't really appreciate the journey she went to get to that point. But I've known other women that have even started this journey a lot later in life and made the same transitions. Shamanism does work very well for women. It can be hard on women because women are more empathic, and of course women are more nurturing and emotional, and they have to really pursue physical outlets for that energy that they empath so very, very well, that it works very well for their healing and their shamanic applications. I can't say therapies, right? And so this is someone, when you look at her and know her lifestyle, and you see her now, and you know for a fact that when she's 70 years old and probably having long white hair, she's going to be just radiating the same beauty, if not more, the same feeling of beauty, if not more. And so the message I want to give you girls, that are in the corporate world, that are feeling that stress, and have to make sure you have all the right clothes and all the right makeup and all the right shoes and just doing all this other stuff for that little bit of money that trickles in, and you're holding all your emotions in, the stuff that you deal with in the corporate world. Know this. Know that there is a woman that you can contact that can help you make that transition out of that into a profession that you can make your money at, you can travel, you have a lot more freedom, you can live the life you want to live, and be the person who you really are in your core. And so if you get in touch with her, she's, Healers of Earth on Instagram. If you look at her YouTube channel, Elisa Glesvalle, Alquimia y Sexualidad, yes, that's in Spanish, but she's fluent in Spanish, fluent in English, and fluent in German. This is a European woman. They're kind of trilingual, But so if you're in any of those languages, she can speak to you very, very well. She was deep into the corporate world in Dusseldorf, Germany, for 11 years. So she knows that world, but she also knows how to escape it. She knows the transitions you need to go through. She knows the pace that you need to do it wisely. She can talk to you about relationships. She can talk to you about your sexuality. She can talk to you about just female magic and female energy in general that you may not even know existed. And so I would really suggest that you reach out to her if you are curious, even a little bit. People say, well, can you make much money? You can definitely survive. I mean, she's originally from the northern part of Spain, Asturias. And she was, like I said, 11 years in Dusseldorf. She traveled to the States a little bit. But now she's in Dominican Republic. Being, the island girl life suits her very well, very, very well. And so back to can you make a living? Absolutely. I like to say in my videos, unfortunately, it's a fact, but at an average of 33% of an industrialized nation is clinically depressed, 11 to 15% before the whole scamdemic thing, of a population was suicidal. Women think about it more. Men act on it more because they're more impulsive that way. And a lot of people, when you look at the outside of their life, you would think, oh, wow, what a picture perfect life. But then these people will come to me and go, I hate myself. I hate my life. I don't want to be doing this. I don't know how to get out of it. And I'm like, well, what would you want to do to make you happy? I don't know. Because they keep suppressing that down. So there's lots and lots of work out there. People need good shamans to be out there. And for you women, the field is wide open for you. Whether you're working with women or you're working with men, you're working with children. And do you need the degrees? If you serve an apprenticeship, you're going to get a certificate. No, we don't do that. I don't do that in my lineage because there's too many people out there that have certificates of all kinds of stuff they put up on the I love me wall that are absolutely useless because this person is totally, inefficient. It's just not good at what they say they do. Elisa is not one of those people. Okay, she's worked with me side by side for a few years as she was going through her apprenticeship, as observation, because that's a big part of the apprenticeship, as a translation, working with me on the people themselves. She was awesome, absolutely awesome in the energy healing work, and now, she's traveling and working at that. So again, women, if you're tired of your work like this, get in contact with her. She's going to start doing more of the online courses, more of the, she's great at setting up the Zoom calls. If you have a women's group and you'd like to have a chat with her like that, she can set that up. She's really good at that. Check out her YouTube channel, Elisa Glesvalle, Alquimia y Sexualidad. That's not all she does. She doesn't do only alchemy and sexuality. It's just that she just has a very natural and beautiful inclination towards those particular subjects, as I really believe most women do when they just really get away from all the programming and get away from the fear, guilt, and shame. And she can tell you her journey about that as well. So this is like my public service announcement to the world. If you want to meet that really gentle woman that has lived that corporate journey, getting out of that, there's a perfect, in my world, in my mind, there's a perfect person for you to contact. Now, you guys, I know you guys are successful and you can get all the women you want and everything, but then you have problems finding the wife material, or you have problems in relationships. She can help you understand femininity. She can help you get in there and really understand how women think and feel and whatnot. Because, look, I'm a man. A lot of our first advice about women comes from men. Okay, from young men, some inexperienced men. When we start off looking at girls in our teens and our early 20s, that's not the way to go. I was lucky enough to have older women, correcting the misinformation that I was getting, and as I've grown and through my relationship journeys, it's a completely different world than what we think. And she's somebody, at least is somebody that understands pretty clearly, as much as a woman could, the man's world and perceptions about femininity, but she can also explain femininity in a way that makes sense to a man's mind. So you young guys out there that think you know what you're doing, but there's no physical proof because you don't have any long-term relationships, or you're just not getting it right, and you're like thinking it's the women's fault, she can help you set your mind right. Okay. And sometimes, guys, we need to get the real information from a worthy source. Okay. That'll help you in your relationship journeys. So men and women, like I said, check her out. Reach out to her on Instagram, Healers of Earth, and check out her YouTube channel, and tell her I said hi. Catch you guys later.